Pop in, say hi. If you've never come into one of my lives before, hi, I'm Cindy. I explore the inside and the outside. We're going to give YouTube a couple minutes, get those notifications out. This show I have on Sunday night, Chatters Live, it's a little bit different. Hopefully, a little bit lighter than the content that I put in my Monday to Fridays. But I have such a great crew here, and they have just as many, if not more, insights than I do. Super kind, have been with me for years. And if you've never popped into one of my lives, I would highly recommend you come right into the comments and say hi to these guys and women and be enveloped by our crew. Sometimes we just have to know that we've got a safe place to hang out, that we can hang out with people that we can trust. And here's one of my main moderators right now. This is Owen. And Owen has been with me for, oh my goodness, he's been with me since the very beginning. When I first started out here on YouTube, I was an urban explorer. I do a little bit of everything. I explore the inside and the outside. But at that time, when I first started out on YouTube, I was an urban explorer. I explored abandoned farms, abandoned houses, one room schoolhouses, uh, churches. And one of my favorite things to do were just to kind of wander around in old fields. I was always careful. I always had a walking stick with me. I made walking sticks also. I haven't made a walking stick in a long time. Owen actually has one of the walking sticks that I made for him. A few of my subscribers I have made walking sticks for. And yeah, it's something I have a stick in my walk-in closet. I always wanted to make like a Moses staff. I don't know what I would possibly use it for, right? I'm not a Moses kind of person, and it's not really great for the trail because it is so tall. You know, staffs are usually like 5 feet tall at the very least, but I found the most beautiful piece of wood and I thought I would make a staff out of it. It has been seasoning in my walk-in closet. Oh my goodness, since I've been here now, 4 years, or longer than that. Have I been here this long? My goodness, time has gone fast. Hello, Eugene. Hello, Andrew. Andrew, look what I got. I got a little tea thing. I was when I was reading your letter, um, it just dawned on me that I didn't have a tea can. I don't know what you call these things, tea caddy. And when you messaged me and sent me that lovely email today, I got it this morning. You mentioned the tea caddy. It didn't even cross my mind that that I needed one. I thought maybe I would just throw the leaves in the bottom of the cup and I would pour the hot water over it and let it steep that way and have a whole bunch of seeds at the bottom. This seems to be working very, very well. Andrew sent me 2 packages of fancy wellness teas. This one here is a nettle tea, and he also sent me a package of mint tea. So I decided to use it's my first cup. I was going to try it this morning, and I just decided I would wait. I also brought myself a little sweetener because I've never had steep tea before. I think maybe as a kid, one of my dad's favorite things is every once in a while we go down to Chinatown. I'm from Vancouver. I was born and brought up in Vancouver, British Columbia. And we have the most magnificent Chinatown in Vancouver. And my dad had his favorite restaurant. I think it was called Wong's restaurant. And I remember it because it was had a great big round table, like a great big round table. It probably fit like 8 or 10 people around it. But in the center of the table, it had a lazy Susan. If you don't know what a lazy Susan is, it's where they put all the dishes, all the food. And then instead of just passing the dishes around to everybody, you just turn the little table that goes around in a circle and you grab the dishes that you want. Um, yeah, we had green tea. I wasn't a big fan as a kid in the green tea. I was all about the chocolate milk and the pop in those days. But I have uh, drank green tea, and that was steeped. And every once in a while at Tim Hortons, you go into the coffee shop and you've drunk too much coffee for the day. I've had their steep tea in that, but it just tastes like regular red rose tea. I don't know. Do you have red rose tea in the States? Here in Canada, red rose tea is very popular. I think it's an orange tea, but the brand is actually from Great Britain. I think red rose tea comes from Great Britain. We import it, but Canadians just love the red rose tea here. Okay, let's see in the comments what's going on. I'm doing really good tonight. Thank you, Eugene. Um, Oh, you're going to get our rain, Andrew, in the next day or so. They say it's going to move into Ontario and those states just underneath the border of Ontario and Quebec. It's going to be pretty rainy and it's going to cool down a lot. I've got my fan off. I still have the air conditioning on only because it's facing the bed and the cat just loves it. The cat just loves the air conditioner, so I'm wasting a little bit of electricity and just leaving the air conditioner on for her. But I've got my window open. I'm enjoying, and I have been enjoying the rain all day. I haven't left the house. I just decided to just have a mellow, relaxing day, understanding I'm picking up a lot of emotions and a lot of feelings going on, a little bit of it's not stress. I'm pretty detached from the whole situation, but it's only because I know the tools to use. I know to stay in today, not to exert myself. If I had gone for a walk today, my sister's going into the hospital tomorrow for a quadruple heart bypass. It's a biggie operation, right? And if I had gone for a walk today, it would have been on my mind. I would have still tried to enjoy the walk. I do love the rainy days, but I know that having the scenery, it would make me go into my thoughts. It would make me go into my contemplation. And what you think about is realized. This is what, I just don't believe it. I know it for a fact because I've seen it manifest in my own life. And, in understanding what you think about is realized. I look at it in respect to what's going on in other people's lives. And in that evidence, I know 100% that it is true. It's why social media, everybody's trying to get your attention, you know, whether it's TV, whether it's podcasts, whether it's YouTube or Instagram or Twitter or TikTok or, you know, the news, which is a terrible, terrible culprit, right? Because they're looking for your attention. So, of course, they're going to put the hairy scary out to the world so that you're glued to it. And not only glued to it, they'll make it live, right? And then they'll just repeat. So it's not really live, it's just a repeat of what was going on live. And it's just to keep you in that state, right? They're vying for your attention, but I'm not sure if they don't realize or if they actually instigate because they know it's true that what you think about is realized. It will keep you on the topic, it'll keep you focused on what's going on. And if you're focused on war, right? That's what's going to be going on. If you're focused on droughts or you're focused on hurricanes or you're focused on that's what your mind is going to concentrate on. My sister's mind, she's just driving herself bonkers. She can't detach, right? It's going on. It's her life, you know. So it's hard for her to detach. She hasn't got any tools or any lessons. She's relying on her friends. She's relying on trying to keep herself calm in all kinds of ways. And but it's hard because it's on her mind, right? What you think about is realized, and she does not like the operations. But in my contribution, I'm not going to contribute to those ideas. I wish her well. She's going to fly through this operation. Everything is going to be amazing. Sure, it's not going to be comfortable for a few days, right? But they're going to keep her all doped up on the painkillers and all that. And she'll be so dopey, she won't even know what's going on. And this is what I'm telling her, right? Like, like I'm trying to be optimistic. I'm being the cheerleader, the motivator, the little bit of inspiration for her so that, for the very best of my ability, I don't think I'm convincing her of anything, but I am being a support system for her, right? And because I'm disattached, I'm staying in the lessons, I'm staying in the conversations, I'm staying in my own movement, right? Understanding that at this point, none of us gets a say. You can't cry over spilt milk. My sister does not have any control in the situation right now. Her life is in other people's hands, right? And she's just gotta let it go. But right, being the person that she is, right, she loves to control. I told her, I said she's harder on herself than she is on anybody else. My sister just has a hard time giving up control. But at this point, all she can do is just accept the situation and just ride those waves. And you know what? In a couple of weeks, right? Less than a couple of weeks, she is going to be home. She's going to be home recovering at her own pace. Just being out of the hospital and away from the doctors is going to be such a relief for her. And knowing from the experience of her last operation, she is just going to be the best post operative patient ever, right? I'm going to have a sip of my coffee before I dig into my tea. Mm, I don't drink steep tea. I actually stole this out of Kathy's Christmas bag. I haven't mailed it off to her, right? It's pretty full of those coloring pages that she really likes, right? So, but I had a few other gifts in there for her. I sent her a couple of small ones at Christmas just to let her know that I was thinking of her. But when Andrew emailed me this morning, right, because he was surprised at how fast this little package that I didn't know was coming. It was just a lovely surprise. I was going out for a walk yesterday. Actually, I was going to the grocery store to search for a healthy treat. That's what I was doing. And I ended up spending everything and, right, did really good. Just bought healthy food and things that I thought that my household and cupboards could use. And I did well. But I remembered after he sent me that email that I bought Kathy one of these, I don't know what they call them, tea, a T-ball. They're called T-balls. So I had this in her little package. So I hope she doesn't mind that I kind of stole it out of her bag. I'll replace it. I'll buy her another one and I'll stick it in her package for when I mail it off. I was so surprised that I hadn't been in that bag. I put it away shortly after Christmas, knowing that I wasn't going to be able to mail it anytime soon. And I pulled it out and I rifled through the bag to get the T-ball. And I was looking at all the colorings, all the books and all the pages in the books for that she uses for coloring. And I thought, oh, maybe she'll do me another one because she has colored uh, pages for me and mailed them out to me, and they're just beautiful. And she also gave me a few pages that I was going to write inspirational stories or insights. I do believe I did one. The other ones, I just made sure that I saved them to my Google Photos so that they were there, right? But yeah, this is going to be interesting, Andrew. And I put it in my favorite cup. I have no idea what this cup says. I would be absolutely heartbroken if I ever broke this cup. It is my absolute favorite, but I have no idea what it says. I'm not even quite sure what the language is. If anybody recognizes the language or what it says in the comments there, that would be so amazing if you could let me know what it says. Maybe I'll even be able to Google Lens it like I did my Egyptian dress and then put a translate on it. Maybe that would work. Look at, they even gave me a little tray for the little thing. I think it's steeped long enough. It's been steeping for about 15 minutes now. So I'm just gonna lay that right there. We're just gonna come back into the comments and see what everybody is yibber yabbering about. And I hope I said hi to everybody. Doing okay in India. Looking forward to the cooler weather, drier weather. The drier weather. Well, you're going to get some rain, Andrew, right? It's going to get some rain. I don't know if it's going to make it as far as New York. It might. Yeah, I don't know. You just jogged my memory. I have no idea. I even said that to myself. What a coincidence, because I couldn't remember. I knew I had books and pencils and stuff in there in that bag for her, but I'm really amazed that I remembered that I had bought her one of these too, right? And then as soon as I did, I said, "Oh, Kathy won't mind if I steal her tea caddy, and I'll just replace it. When I send her package to her, I'll just put another one in there, right? And I'll just keep this one for myself." But thank you so much, Andrew. That was such a pleasant surprise. That was such a pleasant surprise yesterday. Expensive, like, you guys, I appreciate and I understand how expensive postal is, and I appreciate that you guys care for me the way you do. But right, you guys are in no better off situation as I am, and right, it makes me feel bad. Like, I love that you guys think of me that way, but right, don't be spending your money on postal right now. It's really, really expensive, and very kind of you, though. It was a lovely surprise. I just right, and I was surprised because when I pulled my mail out of my mailbox, the key fell out, and I said, "Oh, what's this?" Right? What's this key for? And then I saw on the key, it was like a hotel key almost, and it said Canada Post on it. And I went, "Oh, neat." And then it had a number, and then I turned around, and the office is just right behind the mailboxes, and I went, "Oh my goodness, somebody sent me a package. Oh my goodness, maybe it's registered mail. Maybe somebody's coming to collect money off of me or something, right?" And I opened up, and then I went blank, and I went, "Oh my goodness, somebody got a parcel here and they accidentally put the key in my mailbox." And then I saw Andrew's name on the return address. And I went, oh, Andrew, what did you do? And I was walking out, but I put it in my bag and I left it for when I got home from my walk. And I opened it then. It was such a beautiful, lovely, lovely surprise. Uh, but yeah, so here we go. Oh, I didn't bring a spoon. I didn't bring. Well, I could use the tea caddy as a spoon. How's that? It's just a sweetener pack anyway. My throat is kind of scratchy tonight. I'm gonna have another sip of my tea. I haven't been yapping at all today. I phoned my sister tonight to wish her that, that her operation really went well, but she wasn't in the shower, so she just messaged me back when I messaged her instead. And we just had a little conversation online. And yeah, I hope she probably won't sleep very much. She's not a good sleeper to start with. She probably won't sleep very well tonight. But when I talk about being detached from it, right? That's the best thing that I can do for her because I don't want to add on to that stress. I don't want to add on to that, mass hysteria, right? Lots of times people go into that and, mass hysteria. And then the next thing you know, you got petitions and, right, all kinds of issues going on, right? And it's not a good thing, right? And especially when it's negative, right? So I'd much rather just stay in the positive over that and just trust and pray. And right, I got all of you guys praying for my sisters. I have a few friends that, who have relationships with Jesus, and they're praying to God, and I'm sending out that good mojo, and I'm in my own way having those conversations with God to say, hey, take care of my sister. I trust everything is going to be okay. Okay. Andrew says, where I live, we have Lipton tea, and I've seen Bigelow. Oh, I like Bigelow tea too at the grocery store. But yeah, Lipton tea, that's pretty popular here too. We have another tea that's really popular, and I can't remember what tea that is, but yeah. Um, Andrew says, there's an international store near me. So many kinds of tea and coffee are available. They were sassafras trees near my old home. The roots smell like root beer and can be used for tea. Isn't that? I wonder if that's where they get the root beer, right? Maybe they get it from sassafras trees. Maybe that's where the flavor comes from. Um, Andrew says, I agree, Cindy. News is presented to get attention. There's the saying, if it bleeds, it leads. Oh my goodness. I never heard that saying before, Andrew. Um, Owen, how's your mom been doing? It's French? Oh my goodness, it's French. But she's wearing a sombrero, Andrew. Isn't that a sombrero that she's wearing on her head? But maybe, well, I'm not going to argue with you. Yeah, maybe it is French. I never thought of it. I just saw the sombrero and I thought it was maybe Spanish or one of those South American languages. But yeah, I'm going to use the Google Lens and see if that works, if I can translate it on Google Lens. You guys, my teeth are done. Oh my goodness. They scraped them and scraped them. Oh, that's the worst when my bottom deck had so much plaque. I drink a lot of coffee and stuff. It was stained and it was built up. She even commented how built up it was. And she says, oh, it's only going to take 20 minutes. It was like a half an hour because they were really bad. She even said, oh, it looks like it's been going for a long time. I says, oh, yeah. I says, I don't like flossing even, right? I don't like to put the wires in between my teeth. And she gave me a whole bunch of um, flossing, different types of floss, and she told me to floss. But I'm grateful I didn't have any cavities, that I didn't have to have any cavities on my bottom deck uh, repaired, because oh my goodness, I do not like the drilling. I do not like the metal scraping on my teeth. And I kept rubbing my legs, and in my mind, I'm going, it's okay, Cindy. Everything's okay. We're only 20 minutes. We're almost done. We're almost done. And then I kept saying, too, if Tracy could go in for a heart bypass, you can get through this 20 minutes in the dentist chair. You got this, Cindy. And I was just like a cheerleader for me. And then when it was all done, I was so happy. I thought the fitting was going to be very long. I thought like I was going to be there. She gave me a couple of sittings to get all the work done, and grateful that I didn't have to get any more work done. She wants me to come in one more. She wants me to come in one more time. She wants to make sure my gums are all good and everything. So I think my appointment is for Friday, but this week it's going to be a week. I'm going to be at the hospital being empathic. Like I'll be sitting in the hospital and I'll be just like shining over the whole building. There'll be all kinds of miracles going on in that hospital every single day for sure. But I am going to be exhausted by it myself, because I'm not somebody really who likes hospitals. Like, who does like hospitals? But hospitals have always affected me. And again, what you think about is realized. So I got to remember, I'm just going to go in there and I'm just going to shine, and everything is going to be okay. And as soon as we get that good news, as soon as the doctor comes into the waiting room and says it all went good, I am just going to be out of there. Like, I'm going to be so out of there, like so fast, like the road runner. And I don't think there's any good bus services at the hospital that she's going to. So I'll be walking there in the morning, and then I'll probably be walking home in the evening. But I think I'll be grateful to get some fresh air once it's all done, that relief and being out of the hospital, that it's going to be a good thing. I won't mind. It'll only take me a half an hour, 40 minutes to walk home, right? Tomorrow morning, I hope they're doing renovations at the McDonald's next to the hospital. So I'm really hoping that the renovations are done. It was like a week ago that they shut it down. So hopefully in the past week, they're up and running again so I can get a decent cup of coffee in the morning. I put my battery chargers, I put extra charging cords and plug-ins, and Andrew sent me a book that I put in my backpacks, and it's an inspirational book too. So that's absolutely amazing. It's called Dakota, and he said that he reads everything from this author. So I'm going to give it a shot, and I'm going to have some reading material, and I will give you a review, a Cindy review on the book, and see how it impacted me. Because I do believe, like, these kind of books, these books that inspire, they always impact me in some way, always. Um, oh, you had a thunderstorm, Owen? Yeah, we had a wicked thunderstorm yesterday morning. No, day before yesterday. Oh my goodness. I've been sleeping. I've been turning the alarm off and sleeping an extra half an hour or an hour all week this week, and crashing out totally. That morning, I woke up 5 minutes before the alarm went off, and then the alarm went off, and I just got out of bed right away. And I went, "Oh my goodness, my apartment is so black." I looked at the window, and as soon as I looked out the window, it started raining, and then the electricity, like it was just thunderbolts all over the place. And of course, living behind the fire station, the fire trucks were taking off everywheres. And I sat in my chair. I turned everything off, all the electrical and everything, and I just sat in my chair, and it was amazing. I could barely see across the street. I love thunderstorms. I really do love thunderstorms, but right, I don't like to see anybody hurt. I don't want to see trees get electrocuted or houses get electrocuted. But the crazier the weather, the better for me, right? The better for me. So yeah, we had one too. It was absolutely crazy. It only lasted for about 40 minutes, and then of course it cleared up after it said it was going to be thunderstorming all day. But I'm so grateful that I woke up, right, with the alarm, because all week I was shutting the alarm off and just rolling over and going back to sleep, right? And I'm not somebody who usually does that, but I've been doing it all week. So there was no reason for me not to do that again that morning, but I didn't. And I really, really did enjoy the lightning and thunder. And yeah, it was a great storm. Do you like storms, Owen? Do you like this? Do you like the thunderstorms? I know for my sister Tracy, she loves the storms too. I know for the most part, animals don't like storms, but I'm just reading here. Oh, thank you, Andrew. No, thank you so much for sending that. It was a lovely surprise. I felt like it was my birthday or something. And you kept it as a surprise. How long did it take to get here? You said it got here pretty fast. How many days did it take to get to me? Okay, we're going to I think it's cooled off enough. I'm going to take my first sip. Hopefully I don't make a gagging noise. Oh, it's lovely. Andrew, it's beautiful. Oh my goodness. I really remember what I said just before I took a sip. I hope I don't make a gagging because I've never had steep tea before, right? I've never had steep tea before. It's so delicious. It's actually delicious. And this tea caddy held the exact, because I just used the tea caddy to make the measurement. Like I just the steel part, I just packed it into this. I didn't even pack it. So maybe next time I'll even pack more into it. Maybe I'll have a cup tonight before I go to bed, and then have another cup in the morning. They're wellness teas too. I don't know what this one is supposed to promote. Can you Google it for me, Andrew, and see what nettle tea is good for? Health benefits of nettle tea, and let us know in the comments what it's good for. It's really tasty, you guys. If you like herbal teas, I'm not sure if they call this a herbal tea. It doesn't taste very herbally. It tastes like tea. Oh my goodness, it's amazing. I really like it. Thank you so much, Andrew. It was so thoughtful. And you made me try something new. This is something that I will buy again. So you introduced me to something new. Now, I picked the nettle tea before the mint tea, only because I have a negative emotion attached to mint. Um, my mother loved mint. She would have her gardens full of mint. She made homemade mint tea all the time. She would, especially with pork, she would cook with lots of mint. She would put mint in the salads. So I have an attachment, right, to mint in the memory of my mother, right? So I will try the mint tea next, right? Maybe just like this tea, I will absolutely love it, right? It's only an emotional feeling that's attached to it, right? It's right. And we know sometimes that, right? It's like when I was a kid, I love carrots now, right? But I remember as a kid that, right? I couldn't leave the dining room table unless I ate the carrots. And lots of times I would fall asleep in my plate of carrots because I was not allowed to get away from the table without eating my carrots. And I just had a fear attached to it. I had that punishment attached to it. And it wasn't till I was in my adulthood before I gave carrots another chance. And now I love carrots. And even as a child, I would eat raw vegetables now and not cooked vegetables except for potatoes. As an adult, well, I'm not going to say only because this week I've been making myself salads. I'm down 20 pounds. My sister's experience is rubbing off on me a little bit. Excuse me, the tea. um, my sister's experience is rubbing off on me a little bit because, I'm 63 years old, you guys. Like, I feel like I'm 20 and I go for these long walks. And when I get home, right, I don't think the shoes are really helping me a lot. I'm wearing the best shoes, walking shoes that I have. Well, I think I have. I have lots of shoes. And I haven't tried them all, but because it's summertime, I want to be wearing sandals. So I have been wearing my Keens, and they are my most comfortable sandals. And but my feet have been reminding me that I'm not 20 anymore. So the whole idea of eating better was just to make myself feel better. But in that process, right, of taking my vitamins and eating my vegetables, eating my salads, eating more meat, staying off the bread, and that staying off the bread is so hard because every time I go to the grocery store, I look at the bagels and I look at the rye bread and I look at the Wonder Bread and that's a brand of bread that we have here in Canada and I want it, right? And then I walk down the breakfast aisle because I'm looking for deals on coffee. I don't know about you guys in the States, but we're going to be looking at $40 tins of coffee that you used to be able to get on sale for $13.99 not 6 months ago. Right now, they're $30 a tin, right? They're the big tins, but $30 for a tin of coffee. Once in a while, you can get them on sale for $25. Oh my goodness. That's like the regular price. And they say they're going to go up to $40. And this is because of the tariffs that are going on, right? And Canadians, we love our coffee. We love our coffee. I bought lots of tea. I'm good with drinking tea. And Andrew sent me two great big packages of tea. So that will last me for a while too. Let me have another sip of my beautiful nettle tea. Yeah, it's lovely. Just lovely. I'm really enjoying it. Um, uh, It seems like there's a tea brand called Celestial Seasonings. Yes, we have that here in Canada. The yellow packagings, the ones that stand up, right? Not the square ones, but the ones that stand up, and they're yellow and they have all kinds of different teas. I remember that. I know when I was going through my menopause, I was drinking the dandelion tea because they're good. They're good for menopause because of the hot flashes and stuff that women get, right? And it worked really well. Wasn't super tasty. Not like this one, but it did the trick. Um, Not sure about root beer. Part of the taste is from vanilla. I believe sassafras root is actually carcinogenic. Carcinogen. Uh, I'm trying to think. What is that? What does that word mean, Andrew? Carcinogenic. I've heard it before. I don't know in what relation it is to carcinogen. Something to do with the heart, like it's good for the heart. Oh, that's good to hear, Owen, that your mom is doing good. Yeah, Owen's mom's in her 90s. Isn't that amazing? This is innovation that we're going to be able to stay healthy, you know, into our 90s and in our hundreds. I know in Canada, when you hit your 100-year birthday, um, the prime minister used to send you a birthday card when you hit 100. But I think it's pretty common now that lots of people are able to hit that number now that they're actually talking about. Isn't this crazy? To raise the retirement age, right? Um, Here you can retire at 65 and get a low pension, and then you get another pension when you're 67. I get a CPP, which is a Canada pension plan, which is the little one, which is attached to your job. So in your career as you work, you contribute to Canada pension plan, and then that one you're eligible for when you're 63 years old. And I received that one last year. I'm going to be 64 this year. I'm going to be 64 this year. Just seems to me I've had that pension now. This is my second year. I've only had that CPP for 1 year. Oh my goodness. And I thought time was going really fast. And I can't be going that fast if I was thinking that I had my Canada pension plan for a couple of years now. But yeah, you get that one when you're 63 years old if you want, or you can save it and attach it to your big pension when you turn 65 if you take your big pension at 65. But if you take that pension, I think you lose $10 a month or something. If you wait until you're 67 years old, every month you'll get an extra $10 or $15. But for $10 or $15, you might as well take your pension right away, right? You might as well take your pension right away. And I'm grateful because, you know, if it wasn't for that little pension that I had, right, that pays the rent for me every month. The only thing I've got to worry about is my phone bill and my cable bill, right? And the groceries in my cupboard. And up until recently, well, even now, but I haven't sold anything in the past week or two, right? But I've been selling off a lot of my little knickknacks and things that I've picked up at that job that put the roof over my head. And if you're just coming into my live shows, I worked in a little thrift store, and I used to score such great things. And I grabbed things that I love, but I really don't have the room in my household. And I love so much. And it was also part of my give back to my job, because I always just had this idea that I wanted them to pay me for just 1 day a week, right? And so one of those days would be, right, my staff purchases during the course of 2 weeks, that would be 2 days pay. And then I would find scores in the store that would make them extra money, right? And I was really good at it because I love antiques and collectibles, and I was really good at it. And so I was always trying to make up 2 days of pay with the things that I would find on the shelves. And then, things for the auction window because they do auction windows every month. And then I would find really nice things. And instead of, putting them on the shelf and just putting a average price tag on it, I would put it away in the office so that she would be able to put it in the window. Not only that, I would find jewelry and silver and gold and stuff like that, and I would be able to uh, put that in the office, and then she would send it down to the main office, and the silver and gold that was donated or that we found in the donations, that would be Christmas bonuses for all the staff, and they would divvy it out to everybody, and everybody would get, 50 or $100, every employee that worked for that thrift store. And I thought that was an amazing use of the small jewelries that were being donated from estates and people's homes when they moved and stuff. So I would always find, so it was like I wanted to make it as close to them getting me as an employee for free as I could get it. And I did really, really well on that, and I kind of made it part of my mission to do that. And it was my little bit of give back to that company that gave me an opportunity to keep a roof over my head and to be able to have such a great job. And because, I am a leader, the world is made up of leaders and followers. Like I am a leader that because of my personality that I was and my work ethics that I was able to run the show and right and be able not to have that breathing on my back for the most part of working there. Things change along the way, right? And it's totally understandable that the people who are actually the managers, right, are able to run the show that they want. And I was just as happy to be great backup for them, just as well as being the leader in that store. But however I contributed to that store, that was the idea, is that I just wanted to contribute, out of appreciation for having such a great job, right? And it really was a great job. I had a lot of fun there. I spent that whole time building that community, and I know it carried on. I know things are being run really well, and all the staff is still there. Like I went up there a couple of weeks ago looking for a new keypad for my computer because I spilled a coffee on it. You guys know I'm always spilling coffee on my computer keypad, right? So I went up there to see if there was a keypad for me, and there wasn't. So but right, everybody stopped me and asked questions, and just checking in to see how I was doing and everything. And it was really lovely. It was really lovely to be there. It's not like I want to be there all the time because I have that little bit of sadness, right? That I did have to leave that job. But at the same time, I have made so much movement for myself in the past few months. I've been able to sell off a lot of those great little scores that, not all the things, not the things that I loved the most, but the things that I knew that were valuable enough that would keep groceries in the cupboards and the bills paid for a little while until I could decide what I wanted to do, right, with the rest of my life. But being 63 years old, I'm only a year away. I'm going to be 64 this fall. Being only a year away from my retirement, my official retirement, if I could say I retired early, right, I would be good with that, right? I can contribute and serve and work in different ways rather than worrying about, right, who's breathing down my back, who's a little bit jealous or resentful, right, in that leader that I am. I can't help the person that I am. I am who I am. I'm a good person, right? And, people wouldn't listen and people wouldn't follow my directive if I was, a tyrant or a narcissist or a mean person, or if they didn't trust that I could do a good job, that I could but I had a great team that supported me, and I'm really optimistic that they are supporting, right, the store, because they going to just have another sip of my tea because, right, my throat, I don't know why my throat is so scratchy. I did have a dentist appointment. I didn't really talk too much yesterday. I think for the most part I just stayed with myself besides my live show. Oh no, I didn't even do my live show last night because I take Saturdays off of What's My Good Cheer, which is my Monday to Friday show. Saturdays I'm off of social media, so I didn't have too many conversations yesterday. So this is basically the first time I'm having any voicing at all. Andrew, so nice of you to do that for me. I didn't think I would be a herbal person. I didn't think I would be a herbal person. We'll see what benefits it does for me. Did you come up with what nettle tea is for? Um, let's see. The text on the lower part of the mug looks like French, the upper part, not sure. Maybe two languages together. Oh, maybe like Louisiana or something. Maybe it's Cajun. Maybe it's Cajun, Andrew. And keep. Oh no, because on YouTube it's the right way. I know on my other platforms it's mirrored, so it's you wouldn't be able to read it backwards. But oh, Hannah's here too. Hannah, did you come back in and watch my live show that you had to leave early? It was a really big coincidence. Hannah just lost one of his parents, and I was talking on the subject the other night, and he had to leave. It was a rough day. I totally understand, but I hope you're feeling good today, and I hope you're feeling a whole lot better. I know that's difficult. We all go through difficult times in our life. It's right. I hope you were able to detach from the emotions a little bit and give yourself a little bit of a break, that you were able to sleep well at the very least in the past couple of days. But I did say, Hannah, if you wanna talk, just get a hold of me. You can get a hold of me through my Instagram, and we can have a private conversation for sure. I would be happy to have a private conversation with you, Hannah, if you wanted to chit chat with me. Okay. Andrew says, going in another direction, but Owen, have you heard about the smokestacks and mast being removed from the SS United States to prepare the ship for being sunk to be a reef? Really? I know they've been doing that quite a bit. I see you there, Dave. Hi, Dave. Um, I heard that those ship reefs are really a benefit in the ocean, that they are, but isn't it amazing that they're actually, wow, my throat. Isn't that amazing that they're actually doing that more consistently. And I know you love the ships, Andrew. You're having a storm too? Already, it made it into Ontario already. I thought it wasn't going to get into Ontario until tomorrow. I'm going to have a sip of this coffee just in case it's the nettle tea that's making me cough. And I did have some. Oh, it could have been the orange juice, you guys. I wasn't taking my vitamin C's as much as I should be. I kind of switch out the formulas of my vitamins and minerals. And I have my vitamin C sitting here with my multivitamins, my magnesium, and my B12s. But I haven't been taking the vitamin C's. And I don't know why I haven't been taking them, but I thought I would pick up some orange juice. And I picked up a great big container of orange juice. And this afternoon, I opened up the orange juice and I had a glass of orange juice. And orange juice is very acidic for me. It's actually, you guys, I don't know if you guys know, they always say that the citrus is very acidic, the grapefruits, the lemons, and the oranges, that citrus is very acidic. Yes, it is when you take it in, but when it's digested, it's very alkaline. It's very good for you. And so I got some orange juice and I drank some orange juice. So it was probably acidic going down my throat into my gut. But yeah, maybe it's just the talking tonight. Like I said, I haven't been talking, and I just finished the dental work too. So maybe it's just all the dental work and not talking in the past 24 hours. We'll see. We'll see, right? Like I said, carcinogenic means related to cancer or cancer causing. Oh, okay. Okay, perfect. So maybe that coughing means there was something going on in my throat and the nettle tea is going to work. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. I just looking at myself in the camera in the smiling too, right? So I'm really pleased with how the teeth worked out, right? It's they did a good job. I didn't like them scraping and cleaning them. I don't like metal on my teeth, but it is what it is, and I got through it, right? And just as much as I got through the dentist, and we all have fears of things, right? And some people that would be nothing to go in and get their teeth cleaned. For me, super stressful. But we all have those fears that some people might think are kind of silly, right? Because, you know, it just seems sometimes unreasonable, right? That, oh my goodness, that hurts. Or, oh, you're afraid to do that, right? For me as a kid, it was vaccinations. As an adult, I have no problems with getting needles and stuff, but as a kid, oh my goodness, I remember in high school, I was talking about this on my other show. When I was a teenager, they had to hold me down, and I remember the doctor and the school nurses holding me down, and then they called for any teachers that were in the office, because the nurse's office was right off to the side of the office. And then all the receptionists came in, and oh my goodness, I fought like the Dickens. And even the principal came in and held me down. And they left the door to the nurse's office open. And all the kids, oh my goodness, I screamed like all hell was breaking loose. And everybody was peeking in to see who was getting murdered. I didn't like needles. Now I think, well, that might have been a little bit unreasonable, but at that time in my life, I had a true fear of needles. I have no idea where that fear came up. It doesn't bother me in any way. I just watch them. They always go, "Are you good?" Right? And it's no problem. I probably had 4 COVID shots. Yeah, 4 or 5 COVID shots now. I meant to go in and have another booster, but other people aren't going in for their boosters. I still get my flu shot every fall, but the boosters for the COVIDs, I haven't been getting those. But I suspect when I go in to get my flu booster, uh, in the fall. I usually go in October or November, and I get a flu shot. Uh, I'll get the COVID booster too, just to right. I'm very grateful. I never had COVID, and I know people who have had COVID 3 or 4 times, and I know people who have had what do you call that, long COVID, who still have it too, right? So I am grateful. Um, I don't know if it would be a problem for me if I did get it, but it is like my little claim to fame. It's like, I've never missed a day of work in my entire life. You schedule me for a day and I am there, right? Sick or not feeling good. I always show up, right? And that's right, a claim to fame. It's something I took pride in the fact, it looks good on my resume, and if I go in for a job interview, right, because for an employer, that is probably the worst thing, is to hire somebody and have that person consistently call in sick and not show up, because it holds up the team, and it makes the work and the productivity so much lower. And for myself, right, I don't appreciate somebody getting a free paycheck as much, right? If you're sick, don't show up, right? If you're sick and going to show up and just not do anything and drag your, I'd much rather you go home, right? We'll pick up that slack. We'll be able to stay safe because we won't catch your cold, or if it's a cold or whatever it is, right? Most of the time it's a cold or a flu. And you can make it up at some other point, right? I don't believe people should be at work when they're not feeling good, and they shouldn't be made to feel right, guilted out and made to feel bad at the same time. Um, I would much rather them just stay home until they're feeling better, right? Oh, the humidity? Never thought of the humidity, that the humidity could be part of the coughing issue. I don't know. Stewart's root beer. Oh, we have that too. It's made with cane sugar, isn't it, Andrew? That Stewart's root beer. We carry it in the grocery stores. It's an extra dollar than the regular root beer, but it must be good because it sells. People seem to like it. We're just going to stop 1 second and we're going to send some good cheer out to the fire station. And they're moving right past my building, and they're moving right past the convalescent home across the street. So we're good. They're going to get to their destination, knock on the door, and they'll say, "Oh, everything's good, false alarm," and they'll be able to go back to the station. There won't be any barbecues today at the station, and they won't be sitting on their lawn chairs in front of their open doors, right? Getting ready for a call because it is raining, and it's raining pretty hard right now. No thunder or lightning, but it's very, is it cloudy? It's not cloudy. It's because the forest fires and stuff, and because it's raining, the rain is hitting the fires, and it's putting out the fires. So it's a good thing, right? This is a good thing. This is the end of the wildfire seasons. They're put out, and now they have, all fall and winter and spring to figure out a better solution to make sure that, that these issues that we've been having with the fires are right, not as bad as they were this year. I don't know if that's possible because it is global warming, right? It is global warming that's causing all these forest fires to go on. I even know that they're going on in the States now too, these forest fires, right? But hopefully it's coming to an end for the year. But I think it's something we're going to have to adjust to a little bit, right? Or at the very least have solutions. Maybe we'll be like the Saudis. Is that what you call them? The people in the Middle East, because the trillionaires and the billionaires, they seed the skies and they make it rain. So it's like oases and stuff. Right? Maybe we can do the same thing to keep the wildfires at bay. I don't know long term how good that will serve us in the global warming. There are other things going on. What was it in British Columbia? One of the glaciers, the water broke through because the glaciers are frozen and they work like dams, and everything melts behind it. But they broke open, and there was a town that almost got really devastated in the floods from the glaciers melting, and that's something we're going to have to deal with too. There are a lot of glaciers in Canada, lots of glaciers, and but again, it's right. We are just global warming has been going on, I think, now for 100,000 years. Has it been 100,000 years? Maybe not 140,000 years. Oh my goodness, I'm trying to think. The Neanderthals, maybe 40,000 years, right? Global warming has been going on, and it's a very long process. We're just in the beginning of it, so you can imagine how hot it's going to be. It's going to get to the point where Antarctica is going to be a thriving continent again. They actually found a frozen river underneath the glaciers. Like the river was frozen solid, but they found a river. They lost the submarine, right? They lost because they had a submarine that was going underneath the glacier, the frozen ice and everything to check out the continent, like the land underneath the ice, and they were doing really well. They For 2 years, this submarine was taking photographs and sending back all kinds of great information. I think it was actually when they found that river is when it sent its last signals, and they've lost it. And those submersible submarines are worth lots and lots of money. They cost lots, millions and millions of dollars. I'm looking at the birds run across my front of my window. I have no idea, but a moth got into my apartment and it was in the window, and I was looking at it and I says, "Oh, there's a moth on my window." I'm thinking it was outside, but then it looked kind of 3D-ish, and I went, that can't possibly be in my apartment, because how would it get in my apartment? I keep my windows closed. Not only do I keep my windows closed, but I have a screen on my window. And then I thought, well, maybe it came through my tubing for my air conditioner. But then I thought, well, how would it get out of my air conditioner if it flew into the tubing? How would it come out, right? Like it would be dead by the time it went through the fan, right? It would be all chopped up. So I have no idea how it got into my apartment. But I talked to it, and I had this mouse pad, and I kind of took the screen off of my main window, and I opened up the window. It was raining anyway. It was a nice cool day, and I kind of scooted it into that area, and it stood for about a half an hour on the window, and I thought, well, maybe it can't fly anymore. Maybe that's why it's not flying away. I put the screen back on my window so it couldn't fly back into my apartment. And then I just kept an eye on it, and then I saw it fly away. It flew away, so I'm really happy I saved the moth. I don't think moths last very long, live very long, but I was happy. It brought me back to that memory I had of the last moth that I saved. It was a more dire situation. The other moth, right? It was almost getting sucked into a water pump, but yeah, this moth, yeah, it was. I still have no idea how it got into my apartment. Maybe it was in the hallway, and I opened up the door coming in and out because I did do laundry and stuff yesterday, and I did go for a walk. That maybe when I opened up the front door, the 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 moth came into my apartment that way and just went straight to the window because I don't put drapes on my windows because I love my big picture windows. I'm having some more of my tea. My throat feels a little bit better now, so we're going to see if I start coughing and stuff again from the nettle tea. I might still cough. It might still make my throat sore. It just feels scratchy. My throat just feels scratchy. But like I said, I had dental work going on, and I didn't really talk to anybody yesterday or today, right? That I pretty much just stayed to myself and just unwound, right? Like I said, I'm trying to stay detached from what's going on in my sister's life. I'll be at the hospital tomorrow morning. I Her operation's at 9 o'clock, so I'm not gonna see her because I'm gonna leave the house at 8 o'clock. It'll take me about 45 minutes or an hour, and she'll already be prepped and right, waiting for her operation at that time. But she has a coworker who's a very good friend of hers who's going to take her to the hospital tomorrow and be in the waiting room, and then she's got to go away. We're just going to trade off so that there's somebody there rooting Tracy on the whole time. So that's important, right? We're all family, whether we're friends or acquaintances, that she has people that cares for her and that she cares for that are going to be there rooting her on. So in the end, and I'll be spreading good mojo, not just to her, but to the hospital itself. I go into my imagination, and I just stream blue sparkly light all over the building, right? All over the building, blue sparkly light, and I'll just sit there in my meditation and let the blue light do its work, right? And it's but kind of funny because that's something I recently learned to do, and that doing the blue sparkly light, like just looking down and whether I'm putting it on myself. Usually I put white sparkly light over me, and then the blue sparkly light is for everything else that needs to be healed because it's supposed to be healing light, and the blue light is the healing light. But the blue light is also the the Mary Magdalene and the Mother Marys, and there's three Marys. I can't remember who the other Mary is, but I think the other Mary is Sophia. Sophia is the other Marys. They call them the three Marys, right? So there's a religious aspect to that. So right, grateful that I have a little bit of insight and a little bit to contribute to my sister's faith, right? she's not a practicing Christian, but I suspect that my sister prays, that my sister's, you know, she loves God. She has her own all of us kids, we all a little bit different. I think I have one sister who's agnostic. I used to be agnostic myself, right? Up till a half a dozen years ago, right? I just needed that proof. And I got that proof. But who or what, you know, God is, right? I don't have that down packed yet, right? But I do have that understanding of what you think about is realized, that, people love Jesus, people love God, so that's realized. People love Buddha, so that's realized. Here, Krishna, or Jehovah, or I'm just trying to think of different religions. There are lots of different religions out there, even ancient religions, right? Right? I do believe Sophia was an ancient religion, right? Even Mary Magdalene, she didn't even make it to the Bible, and she had her own work. She had written word too, but they eliminated it. It was part of church politics, I think, with church politics, that they just kind of omitted her, right? Because of her ideas and her relations to Jesus. They just shut down, right? It's kind of a women's thing, right? They wanted to make men the dominant, and right, we are in partnership with each other, right? There are female pastors out there and reverends, and I don't know if there are. I guess in the Catholic faith there still isn't any females. Maybe there is. I don't know. Um, but the nuns, right? The nuns are representations of the Marys for sure, right? And people do worship the Marys. You always see the statues with Mother Mary and baby Jesus and stuff. So people still worship Mary, but not in the same way as they worship God and Jesus and other, right, and the saints and stuff. Oh, maybe the Marys are saints. I don't know. Maybe. See, I'm not an expert. I'm just looking at all the birds again. Lots of birds. I'm looking for a pair of birds, but they have to come really, really close to my window. I'm looking for that sign. I don't know what the sign represents, but it's going to be pretty major, whatever it is. They get pretty close. I've had pairs of birds come within 10 feet of my window, but I want them much closer. I want them like 3 feet or 4 feet away from my window, and then I'll know it's an important sign in my life. Let me just come down here again. Um, yeah, I don't know about the dampness in the in the air like that, if it makes you cough or anything, but it could be the smoke though, because remember what I said, this rain is putting out the fires. But when you put out fires, you put water on the fires, it's like smokes, right? Like when you put out a campfire, that white smoke comes up. And this is what I'm seeing outside the windows. I can barely see downtown right now. It's just like fog outside, and that's not because of the rain. It's not rain. It's still raining. It could be some rain, but that's not what that is. That's smoke going on out there. Um, I used to have a fear of needles, Andrew says. I think it was because of a very young age I got booster shots, and it was awful experience. I got better with needles as I got older. Then I became a blood donor. Ah, I never was able. I wanted to. I went down a couple of times to see if I could donate blood, but because I had a gastric bypass when I was 28 years old, 27 years old, I had a gastric bypass. And because I have to take so many vitamins and minerals, because I have malabsorption, I don't absorb vitamins and minerals like I used to. Yeah, they wouldn't let me donate blood. They said I was anemic. I don't think I am. I think when I went to donate blood, maybe, right, I was on a serious diet. And I know when I'm on a diet, I really cut back on absolutely everything, including eating anything. And I was probably anemic because, I wasn't eating well and I was trying to lose weight and then I was trying to donate blood. I could try again. I should try again to see if I can because, I do take lots of vitamins. I do take pretty good care of myself. And even though I've lost 20 pounds in the past few months, it's right. It's not because I'm not eating properly. I'm actually eating properly, and the weight is just naturally coming off from the things that I am cutting out. Right, because I was pretty bad. I was I was pretty bad with the treats, especially with the grocery store so close to me and being in that stress. We all have our coping mechanism. Food is still not something I have down packed. I still eat lots, but I try to eat lots of healthy. I eat lots of health, lots of meat, lots of eggs. I go through a flat of eggs in like a week and a half. A flat is the big one, right? Where you got like 30 eggs or something. I can eat one of those. I love eggs, so I eat lots of eggs. It's funny because I'm really picky about my meat and eggs. Just the thought that they're eggs, you would think that I would be funny about those, but yeah, I manage eggs pretty good. And when I say manage, I enjoy eggs pretty good. But yeah, we all have ways that we cope, and we have things that we're all scared of and terrified of, right? Like I didn't like to trick or treat. I liked taking my pillowcase on Halloween, and it was funny, because when I was a little kid, on Halloween, my mother would take the fuzzy. In those days, it was pretty popular in the 60s, 70s, 80s, the fuzzy toilet seat covers. And my mother would strap that onto my head, right? She would take her lipstick and she'd put it all over my nose, right? And she'd send me out my onesie, right? My onesie pajamas, with a pillowcase, and that would be my Halloween costume every single year. She had a Mexican skirt that her mother bought for her as a souvenir from Mexico one time. And then, as I became a uh, young adult, a preteen and a teenager, and I'd go out at Halloween or have Halloween parties. I would wear my mother's Mexican skirt. Me and my sisters would fight over who would wear this sparkly Mexican skirt that she had. But yeah, I remember that toilet seat cover. She would always strap it to my head and send me out with my pillowcase, trick or treating. Uh, but I didn't like to knock on people's doors, because I was brought up thinking that I was a little fat kid and stuff. I thought people would say, "Oh, you don't need any candy because you're too fat." So I was really embarrassed about going trick or treating. I got cut off at trick or treating by the time, oh, really early. I got cut off trick or treating. But I didn't like knocking on the doors for anything, whether it was like singing Christmas carols or anything. I would hide behind a bush, and my sisters, because we'd want to go and raise some money. We were really good on entrepreneurs. We were so good at making money, us kids, whether it was beer bottles or selling Kool-Aid or right, singing Christmas carols. But my sisters would knock on the door. Would you like to hear a Christmas carol? As soon as the people would say yes, I'd come jumping out of a bush, running up the stairs, and I would join in on the singing the Christmas carols, and we'd make our money and we'd buy presents for our parents and stuff. And we were always proud because, even as young kids, right, we gave back to our parents that way, and we would buy really nice presents. I we'd make lots of money. I don't know if we were cute kids or what, but we always made lots of money in our little entrepreneur ideas. And I remember we used to go to these expensive sports stores because my dad loved hunting. So we'd buy him fancy knives and compasses and, you know, we couldn't buy guns or anything like that, but we could buy fishing gear and stuff like that. For my mother, it was easy to buy for my mother. It was always perfume. And in the 60s and 70s, it was containers with talcum powder that we would use, right? And we'd always buy our talcum powder, perfume, gift packs, and stuff like that for my mother. But yeah, I didn't like knocking on the doors. It was very scary for me, very scary for me, right? I had some bad experiences, and it impacted me. You know, some of those experiences. When my mother was a Jehovah Witness, she would go on one side of the road. She'd make us kids go on the other side of the road, knocking on doors to see if anybody wanted to talk about Jehovah Witness stuff. And if they said yes, we'd scream across the street to my mom, and my mom would come and run over, and we'd go into a stranger's house and sit there. But for the most part, people would yell at us and throw things at us and threaten to hit us or sick their dogs on us and stuff. So I think that was a big part of me not being able to knock on doors. But who's to say? I can't say for sure. I've gone back into those situations to kind of sort those kind of old memories out, and I never really did get a handle on them. But I know there were good reasons for it, right? There always are reasons as to why we don't like to do things, or why we're afraid to do things, or why we're afraid of things. There's always a reason in that. But I think at that age, I was probably too young. I don't think I was probably even 10 years old when we were doing that. Because I remember my youngest sister was still a baby, because my mother would be on the other side of the street with the baby, right? And then me and my other two sisters would be on the other side of the street knocking on doors. Yeah. That's why I'm always polite when the Jehovah Witnesses always knock on my doors. I'm always kind to them. I still don't invite them in for chit chats and stuff, but I'm always kind to them and have short conversations with them and stuff, because I know how it must feel for them, how embarrassing or how scary it is for them to knock on a stranger's door and not know what that outcome is going to be, right? But yeah, interesting. But yeah, tomorrow, in the next few days, I don't know if I'll be doing my live show tomorrow night. If I don't come in for my What's My Good Cheer show, right? It probably didn't go too well. If it did go well, I'm going to be tired, but right, just like, those jobs and always showing up in my jobs, I will still show up tomorrow and give everybody the good cheer that everything went well. It's just a lot of fear. And yes, it's going to be some pain in that and some scars, right? But my sister is an amazing post-op patient. If she's not a good patient, she's a good post-op patient, because she just wants to get out of the hospital as fast as she can. And I know it's going to be absolutely fine. I'm going to go to bed early tonight for sure, get a good night's sleep, because I'm not sure. I can say that I'm kind of detached from the situation, that I can keep myself calm. I can keep myself focused on other things, so that I'm not, putting my mind into those situations. It helps that I had this show tonight, right? It helps in that. And I have lessons I'm taking in important lessons right now that I'm making movement into. I have house projects, and I have good, healthy food that I'm eating lots because we all have coping mechanisms, and I have not bypassed in any way that issue of eating too much. I just eat too much of healthy food now and try not to get too close to the goodies, to the right, the chocolate bars, the candy, right, the stuff that I don't eat candy anyway. I haven't had any candy at Christmas time. Oh my goodness, I went a little cuckoo this year on the candy at Christmas, and it was hard for me. I think it took me almost a month to get back off the candy, right? Because it's those quality street chocolates. And I won't be getting sucked into those chocolates anymore because half of the joy of eating quality street chocolates is the foil wrapping on the chocolates. And they've got plain, ugly wax paper wrap on their candies anymore. So I'm not as exuberant about quality street chocolates, even though they're yummy. Right? It was how beautiful those candies were when I pulled them out of the tin. Right? When I got to pick out of the tin which candy I was going to have. So I don't think I'm going to have that issue this year. I'm gonna do good by myself, right? Right. And like I said, it's not about losing weight. It's just about staying healthy, understanding I'm not 20 anymore. But how many of us are, right? And like I said, we are going to be living into our 90s and our 100s. I'm aiming for 114 years old, you guys, right? I'm gonna give Owen's mom a run for her money. Right? She'll probably beat me. But yeah, this is innovation and medicine. They're doing so well. I hear they know the cause for Alzheimer's now. It's a certain chemical that we produce. I think. Well, I'm not going to say for sure, but I think it's a stress enzyme that we release in our bodies that causes the Alzheimer's. They're on a cure for rectal cancer now. They have in their trials really had some great success, like 100% success in curing stage 3 and stage 4. So that is absolutely amazing. And in different illnesses, right? As time goes by, there's going to be more of us. And those letters that the Prime Minister sends out, those birthday well wishes when we hit our 100th birthday, they'll probably be generic emails going forward because so many of us will be hitting our hundreds, right? And you guys will all still be with me too at that time too. Okay, you guys, we're going to call it a night. Thank you so much, everybody, for popping in. Andrew, Dave, Eugene, Owen, right? Hannah. Oh my goodness. Who else am I missing? Like all you guys for coming in tonight. For those of you who come in afterwards, if you're coming home from work and putting your feet up, right? I hope you found us to be good company tonight. And for those of you who pop in tomorrow, I hope you have a great day. Everybody, have a great night, right? And Andrew, thank you again so much. So kind of you, so thoughtful of you. I have the most amazing friends ever. Thank you for being so thoughtful. Thank you, all you guys, for being so thoughtful. See you next week.